you don't like weight belts, what other weighting options are there for you? Hi, all of you awesome scuba divers out there. Welcome to the Scuba Diving Magazine channel, your favorite place for the latest scuba diving news and gear reviews. And welcome to Ask Mark, our scuba diving Q&A, where I, Mark, a former dive instructor, do my best to answer your scuba diving questions. So if you do have any scuba diving questions, by all means pop them down in the comment section underneath this video. Use this Ask Mark hashtag to get it featured in an up and coming video. And yeah, I type out an answer so you get an answer sooner rather than later. But yeah, today I'm answering a question all about weighting options that do not include weight belts. This video is brought to you by Avelo Dive Systems, the next evolution in buoyancy control. Avelo pairs a lightweight hydro tank with a streamlined jetpack, and instead of inflating a big wing like traditional BCDs, it uses a small amount of water ballast, a bit like a submarine, to set and keep you neutrally buoyant. The result is a smoother, calmer dive with less drag and less task loading. Imagine a scuba setup that's nearly half the weight of your current rig, yet delivers immediately perfect neutral buoyancy from the start of the dive, and that is the Avelo system. It's lighter on your back, it's lighter in the water, and built to make buoyancy feel intuitive from the first minute. Underwater, you'll fine-tune by adding or releasing a little bit of water in the hydro tank, so no kind of yo-yoing up and down, adjusting that inflator, just stable trim that lets you enjoy the dive. And yes, emergency procedures are trained. A purely mechanical purge valve lets you dump water to gain buoyancy independently of the pump or the battery. Getting started is really simple. Take a recreational Avelo diver speciality. You'll do a 1 to 2 hours of e-learning, 2 guided dives at an Avelo dive center to dial in the system and build comfort. Courses are available worldwide, and the ecosystem keeps growing. Avelo has teamed up with Shearwater Research on dedicated hardware, including the new Shearwater jetpack for Avelo diving, which was unveiled this summer. So if you're ready to feel the difference, then dive Avelo and turn pre-dive faff into effortless set and forget buoyancy. Hit the link, book your next course, and experience the future of scuba today. So yeah, J2000i3 says, any advice on how to distribute the weights on a wing BCD if we do not want to have a weight belt? Yeah, so you have a ton of options today as sort of weight solutions. Gone are the days where you just have a weight belt and kind of that's it. I know a few divers who just don't get on with weight belts, mainly because they don't have like hips basically. So if they put the weight belt on, they don't have the hips to hold them up. So whenever they're upright, the weight belt just slips down to their knees and their ankles, and then it disappears. So you do have plenty of alternatives, and it ultimately depends on like your personal preference, your trim in the water, and your actual BCD. Because some BCDs are going to have more options available for you. Some are fairly like just standardized, this is what you get. Whereas if you've got more like modular backplate and wing style system, then yeah, you do have a bit more like customizability. So the first thing is usually integrated weight pockets. So some BCDs, especially backplate and wing BCDs, you can have weight pouches, integrated weight pouches that attach onto the BCD or the backplate and like the waistband to give you integrated weights. So that's the first, like most common. So you've got 2 separate pouches. You have some kind of quick release system with a pouch that you load the lead into, click it into the BCD, it's attached directly to the BCD, and then if you need to, you can just ditch them. That's usually the first option, and there are a ton of different designs out there. Which one you go for is like personal preference. Something a bit more akin to a standard weight belt, you can get weight harnesses. So instead of, I mean, you still have like a traditional weight belt. However, the weight belt now has shoulder straps. So you put your wetsuit or your drysuit on first, you then put your weight harness on so that the weight is now held onto your shoulders effectively. And that way it's still a more traditional weight belt style. A lot of them do have like integrated weight pouches, so you can like quick release it. But if you don't have hips and your weight belt normally like slips down, it's not going anywhere because it's got the shoulder straps. So that's an option that I've known a few divers to use. It goes underneath your BCD, and yeah, it's more like a standard like weight belt. If you don't like it because it digs in, then you have to think a bit further out. The integrated weight pouches are probably better because they don't tend to like dig in. They're physically attached to your BCD. Alternatives, you can add weight blocks because they all have a standard 2-inch slot on there, and all of our webbing on like the harnesses, the cambands for your cylinder, they're all typically 2-inch. Some are a little bit different, but majority of our like webbing is 2 inches. So you can get trim weight pockets. A lot of BCDs have them physically built into them nowadays. They're typically behind your shoulder blades, either side of the cylinder. If your BCD doesn't have those, you can buy separate trim pockets, and they usually have some kind of a thread section to thread onto the camband. So around your cylinder camband, again, typically 2 inches, so you can thread them on and then load the lead into it. The downside with these is that they're not typically quick release because they are by your shoulder blade, so you can't really reach them. So small amounts of lead, but still small amounts do start to add up. If you don't want, if you're like renting BCDs when you're out there, you can attach lead directly onto the camband of your BCD around the cylinder. You just thread it on. It's a bit tricky. Some BCDs, especially if you're renting, the camband is sewn in place, so you can only put it on one side, but it's an option out there, and I've seen some divers actually have a separate camband they just bring with them, load up some lead and attach it to the cylinder. That way they can kind of move it up and down the cylinder wherever they need that lead. Typically it's with like aluminium cylinders. If you're used to diving with steel cylinders and then you switch to an aluminium, the buoyancy profile is a little bit different. So adding some actual trim lead to a part of the cylinder can help you like regain that like natural trim. But yeah, you can attach it to the camband. Again, not quick release at all unless you're ditching your cylinder. On a similar tack, there are don't know what you call them. They're like quick release or like quick attach weight plates, I think you'd call them. They're like a square plate with 2 sections of bungee that you put on like almost any section of 2-inch webbing. We're heading more into like backplate and wing territory where it is like all 2-inch webbing, and yeah, you kind of thread the bungee loops through the lead, hook it over, and that way it quite quickly attaches lead where you need it. It's more designed for like trim control. So if you're a bit head heavy and you need some lead a bit higher up, you can put some weight blocks like higher up on your shoulder straps, and that can help to bring you flat down. But yeah, if you're trying to add just extra weight and you're running out of space, then yeah, this can help. On the other end of the spectrum, if you're like feet light, then you can have ankle weights. I don't see them too many, but my first drysuit actually had them built in. You had this little section down around the ankles where you could slot lead ingots into the actual suit itself, and that helped to bring your feet down in a drysuit. But you can buy just it's just loops of lead shot, basically, and they click around your ankles. Not the most comfortable, especially if you're diving in warmer waters, because it just kind of sits on your bare skin, unless you've got particularly chunky boots. It's an option that's out there, but hey, I'm just including it. Otherwise, if you are diving a solid metal backplate, you do have lots of like backplate weight solutions. So everything from like P weights, which will sit in the kind of spine section. If you've got nothing sort of in there, you've got V weights. If you're diving twins, they can sit between the twin cylinders. You can actually get, it depends on the actual backplate itself, but some brands have come up with dedicated weight attachment points. So if you have the correct attachment points, they're usually kind of proprietary, but if you've got a fairly generic style backplate, you can bolt these like either actual weights onto your backplate to make it even heavier, or to like include weight pouches so you can slot lead into it. There's lots of weight solutions out there on the market. It just depends on like what BCD you have, how customizable it is, and yeah, how and where you need that lead. I mean, if you look at a lot of side mount BCDs, they have a spinal weight system, several pouches that run down the spine that you can add lead a bit higher up if you need it, or a bit further down if you need it. My first side mount wing had 6 pouches that run down your spine, and you can put more up towards your shoulders if you need it to bring your head down, or just kind of spread it evenly wherever you need it to. Hard to make that like quick release, but if you just want to add extra lead, it's definitely out there. Yeah, there's tons out there if you search hard enough. It's mainly about like searching and coming up with the correct terminology, because yeah, like those weight plates that attach to the harness, I think that's what they're called. That's what I would call them. But yeah, there are several options other than a traditional weight belt. So yeah, but it mainly depends on the BCD that you're using. Yeah, most divers that I know tend to have just integrated weight pouches on their BCD. They do have several benefits in that the weight doesn't like rely on cinching it into your waist quite so much. The downside is it does make your entire unit very heavy, because you've got the weight of the cylinder and the BCD and your regs and everything and your weights. Whereas if you have a separate weight belt, it's a kind of separate unit. You just have to remember, if you're getting out on a rib, just to send up those weight pouches. Make sure you've got a good grip of it first before you disconnect it. But yeah, if you're trying to carry the whole thing, it does get quite heavy. Otherwise, yeah, I've known a couple divers. They tend to be like bigger divers, shall I say, to be more politically correct, who have the weight harnesses underneath the BCD. It's just a separate harness. It's still quick release, but it's a bit more comfortable for them, and it doesn't fall down their waist. Otherwise, yeah, it's mainly for trim to move the lead, so it's not. Other options are typically for trim, so your body position in the water, just to move it around a bit. It's more for small amounts of lead that you're not going to get rid of in an emergency. You still need some to be able to ditch to create some kind of positive buoyancy. But yeah, there are plenty of systems out there. Other questions, by all means, pop them down in the comment section underneath this video. Remember to use this #hashtag to get featured in the up and coming video. Otherwise, remember to like, share, subscribe, do all that good social media stuff. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.